Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm joined here by,
Hi guys, my name is Kirsten and I am a sophomore here at CAMS.
and we are teammates on the same team, 687B for VEX, which
Mhm.
is Robotics Club. Do you want to explain a little more about that?
So VEX is basically a robotics program for kids ages from elementary school all the way up to university level. So I have personally competed in both the middle school and high school levels. Middle school, I took part in VEX IQ, which is kind of like this Lego robotics program. And then right now I'm currently in VEX V5, which kind of deals more with like metal and industry level type of materials. And I find that they're both pretty fun. Kevin, do you like
I've
them?
had, yeah, I've had a great experience here in VEX
Mhm.
as well. I'm just curious, for example, what is your role? What do you do in VEX for our
Mhm.
club specifically?
Yeah, so for our club, I'm actually part of our club board. I am a publicity manager, and in this role, I'm able to create different posts for fundraisers and increase our awareness to our school community. So, specifically, Kevin might put this in the video, but we did create some different like TikTok videos showing that we're having a fundraiser coming up. And through this, we were also able to make up to $19,000 in profit. And this basically allowed us to buy more supplies for our team and also get more registrations so that we can go to different competitions. And I think that really helped us, especially because we have like 5 teams here at CAMS. And yeah, I think it made a great impact for everyone.
Overall, VEX is basically just a team sport.
Mhm.
As robotics, we have different roles and we work together to come towards, to build a robot for a specific game that changes every single year.
Mhm.
So, for example, my role on the team is a builder. I build a robot, and yeah. So, what is your role in VEX?
Yeah, so my role in the team is I'm an engineering notebooker. So basically, I take part in documenting our engineering design process. So if you don't know what the engineering design process is, it basically starts off by brainstorming different ideas. So early on in the season, we were able to brainstorm like what we wanted for our robot, and then we would design it, which we would make CADs or sketches, which helped us to envision what we wanted to create. Then we would build, program, and test it, and that basically what happened before the season started. And being able to like document all of this into our notebook was a really important part because as a notebooker for VEX, the notebook plays a huge part in getting awards, like especially judged awards like the Excellence Award, which gives you like state qualification or even world's qualification if you're already in the state competition. And I think as a notebooker, I was able to really understand how our team worked together. It really gave me a good idea of how we could improve ourselves on terms of communication and being able to show leadership around each other.
Yeah, definitely. And overall, just all the roles, builder, cadder, notebooker,
Mm-hmm.
and programmer, we all work together to basically compete together, and which is why it makes just such a great team
Mm-hmm.
dynamic. So moving on, let's talk about competitions for a
Mm-hmm.
bit. Of course, that competitions are organized where there's a varying amount of teams, and each competition is hosted basically throughout the world.
Mm-hmm.
So specifically during our how was your competition experience going into everything?
Yeah, so I'm just going to start off by saying that when I was in middle school, my competitions were a lot different compared to how it is right now in VEX V5. In middle school through VEX IQ, it's a lot dumbed down, but there are many similarities, such as doing skills competitions, which are basically the driver just competes on his own without any alliances. And I think that currently in VEX V5, I was able to really grow a connection with a lot of high schoolers. Yeah, so my competition experience has really grown throughout the years. As a middle schooler, I found that competing in VEX IQ, I was a driver before in middle school, but now I'm not really a driver. But I know that the pressure that it takes to be a driver is really important. And in middle school, I was really blinded toward like the design process because I was a driver. So I think just being able to expand my skills throughout high school really helped. And competitions usually last a whole day. I'm really tired after all of it, but I think I'll just go into the competition format if that's
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. So basically, now in VEX V5, we started the day off by getting our alliances. So in these alliances, it's just a random set of matches between the red and blue alliances, with each alliance having 2 teams each. And usually our alliances are they're not always as what we hoped for, but they're definitely something that we can expect throughout these competitions as they are all randomized. And so far for me, I've had a great experience watching my team collaborate with each other. I mean, especially as the matches come by, everyone's rushing to do pit duties, try to get the air filled up into the robot, and just having that, being able to watch my teammates collaborate with each other and be a team really just opened my eyes to how kind my team is. And that's not glazed, guys, I promise. But yeah, and I think competitions themselves, they're really fulfilling, especially when you get an award. I personally have felt so much dopamine from getting design award, because I know design award is basically, it's based on our notebook, and as a notebooker I feel really happy seeing that we get that every single year that we've been together. So yeah, that's personally my experience with fulfillment.
I think a really big part of competitions has been the interview
Mm.
section. And Kirsten here specifically has been such a crucial role for our team specifically in just preparing us for all the interviews. So how interviews work is that I've seen teams either give pitches or just receive questions from
Mhm.
judges, and you grade it on a rubric. I believe there's like the engineering design
Mhm.
process and other things such as like how innovate, like talking about like innovative parts of your design. So just knowing all that, being prepared for the interview is really important, as it does qualify you for a lot of awards that we've mentioned before. And again, thank you so much, Kirsten,
Mhm.
for all the
Yeah,
work
yeah,
you've
yeah.
been putting in for
Mm,
us, especially.
of course.
So just the general like competition format. I know you mentioned the 2v2 alliances and
Mhm.
everything. So we do start off the day pretty early in the morning. I mean, of course, it varies from competition to
Mhm.
competition, but the ones that we participate usually in CAMS, which is usually at McBride High School, which starts with the qualification matches, which is a set of various matches where you have random teammates and you do get this overall match score. For example, if I have 5 wins and 1 loss by the end of the qualification matches, that is like my ranking, and you're sorted based on your rank on a leaderboard basically. And this allows for a line selection where the higher you are on the rankings, it will allow you to pick your different alliances. So now going into the next phase of the tournament, you have the elimination matches where you go and it isn't random anymore. You're going against the alliance. You're going with the alliance that you chose. So, which is really important in VEX to have really good communication skills in order to understand and be able to just communicate with others to gain an
Mhm.
alliance, which will help you win the tournament for sure. Um, do you have any experiences personally with communicating with other teams? Because I know that's a really important
Yeah.
part of the tournament.
Yes, so as a notebooker, of course, I don't have as big of a part when it comes to pit crew duties. So usually I'm here with Jillian, who's my other notebooker, and we basically sit around and wait for other people to come up to us and be like, "Oh, what do you have on your robot? Do you guys have a four-motor drive base? What's your RPM on this? Do you guys have this certain mechanism?" And we always try to make sure that we have answers to them. So I personally have grown accustomed to different teams from even like northern parts of California who come by to SoCal. I have become accustomed to them asking, "Oh, do you have this on your robot? What's your program like?" So that they can get experience with alliances. And for me personally, having that communication has really helped me talk to other people, even outside of robotics in school. I know even at my church, I've been able to grow open, and I think I would like to thank those at VEX, because having such communication and with alliances, especially, really helps us to know each other's strengths and weaknesses, and allows us to win the competitions. And I just wanted to add before Kevin says anything, that elimination matches are definitely some of the most high stakes parts of the competition. Through elimination matches, there's a round of 16, which are basically like 16 pre-matches before like the big, like, I don't really know how to describe it, but then after, whoever passes R16 basically goes into quarterfinals and then through semifinals and then the final, and it's really nice to see how competitive all of us are, but it's definitely a lot of pressure as you get higher through the elimination matches.
Okay, so moving on, for people wondering if they should join VEX or not, what can they expect from VEX? What's the time commitment that they have to put in for
Mm-hmm.
VEX?
Yeah, so here at VEX, here at CAMS especially, we do put a lot of effort and time into it. What you can expect is a lot of hands-on activities. Each of our teams range from around 8 to 10 people, or it could be less. But right now, since there's so many of us interested in competing, right now it's around 8 to 10. Um, the time commitment is 2 days per week from after school to 5:45, and then each month we have at least one Saturday meeting, which is from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And basically, these Saturday meetings can vary. Some of them happening closer to competition. And some teams, like our team, we even meet outside of school because we want to make sure that we're as prepared for the competition as possible. So it really depends on how your team dynamic is. But overall, it's a lot of work to put in, but it's definitely really fulfilling.
So I understand that there is basically a lot of time commitment to
Mm-hmm.
put into VEX compared to a lot of other clubs that I've seen. So I'm wondering, how do you balance personally VEX with schoolwork?
Yes, so for me, I try to make sure that if I'm not doing anything in VEX, which doesn't really happen too often, that I would try to work on my homework or do anything and be productive. And also, I think for a lot of camp students here, we try to work on our homework during class or during our breaks and nutrition, just so that we don't have as much work to do after school. And for me personally, I try to limit my extracurriculars to only the ones that I deem important. And I think that's something that a lot of us should take from being here at CAMS, that you can't just pile so many extracurriculars on yourself. You have to make sure you know what you can handle. And that personally was a big lesson for me coming into CAMS as a freshman, because I wanted to do so many things here at CAMS because of all of the opportunities, but I knew that I couldn't personally handle so much at the same time. So as a sophomore, I was able to really pinpoint which activities were best for me. Currently I have like only like around 3 to 4 like main extracurriculars, one of them being VEX. And I think just being able to know what my strengths are and what I can balance are really important.
So overall, I know you've been doing VEX for a while. So
Mm-hmm.
what really motivated you to join this club, whether it's middle school or high school?
Yes, so I think I'm just going to start off with how I joined in middle school. I saw so many of my peers who were really successful, gone to CAMS. I saw them join VEX and I thought, oh, maybe that could be my cheat sheet. But I really learned in middle school that I could be a leader myself. I could learn engineering skills while being a driver, while being a builder, and also sometimes being a programmer and designer. And I really knew that engineering was somewhere in my heart, but as I came into high school, I really learned that um, I'm not trying to be rude to engineering, but engineering ended up not being my pathway. But I still enjoy being in VEX because I still have a team to work with. And I think I applied to VEX in high school because I knew that I could solidify my ideas of what I wanted my future career to be. As a freshman, I really wanted to go into engineering because of how much I enjoyed VEX in middle school. But as a sophomore now, I really understood that I probably won't go into engineering, but VEX was definitely a foundational part of like me understanding where I wanted my future to go. So yeah.
I think for my experience personally, when I joined VEX, this is my second year in VEX as I
Mm-hmm.
joined in high school, and for me specifically, I just wanted basically a group of people that I could really connect with.
Yeah.
For example, I wasn't necessarily obsessed with engineering, programming, or anything like that, and I didn't really have much robotics experience to begin with. But I really enjoyed VEX that I saw there's like a high sense of community and just overall just a great environment to be around for
Mm-hmm.
sure. So, speaking about application processes, what can people expect when applying for robotics in general?
Yeah, so for applying for robotics in general, I'm just going to pinpoint this to CAMS. CAMS, we have several different great robotics teams. We have us here at VEX, and then we have FDC and FRC. So if you're coming here as a freshman, you'll have the choice to choose between FDC and VEX if you want to get into robotics. And on the form, they're both very similar. They basically ask you if you have any experience, what type of subcategory you want to go into, and these subcategories range from being a builder, driver, programmer, cadder, and depending on which team you choose, you could be an engineering notebooker like me, or you can work on admin and be a portfolio person for FTC. So on the application, it's very general to just how you are as a person, how do you work as a team, and I can't remember much, but I know that they look for people that are willing to put in the dedication, because if you're not willing to work as a team with other people, if you're not willing to put in the work, then your team might not get as far as you hope for. And us at CAMS, we just want to make sure everyone can get an opportunity to, go hands on with STEM.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, since you mentioned that the application process, you have to put like your role in
Mm-hmm.
there, like what role do you desire, builder, cat, or whatever. Would you say that VEX, in a sense, would it be restrictive into like if you're going with this role that you have to stick with it and stay with it for your entire VEX
Mm-hmm.
career?
So I would say that choosing your roles doesn't really mean that, oh yeah, you're going to be a cat, or oh no, you're going to be a programmer. It's very, being part of VEX gives you a lot of opportunities to branch out to different aspects. So me personally, I think on my form I put that I wanted to be a builder and driver, but then I found that I was better suited to communicate my ideas through the notebook. So that often happens. I think another one of our members, Isabella, she was originally a notebooker like me, but then she found that she wanted to expand and be a builder and go hands on with the robot. So I wouldn't say that these roles that you choose on the application are very restrictive, because here at VEX, we want to make sure that everyone is able to do as they want. They're able to explore what they can and put in the effort to be the team member they are.
It's kind of opposite, isn't it? That you want it to be.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Do you want to explain the pushback game, for example, this year?
Oh yeah, so the pushback game, as all of the other VEX games are played on I think it's a 6x6 field.
It's
I
12.
have
It's 12.
no clue. It's 12 by 12, whatever size field. It's a square field, and basically, as I said earlier, there's a red and a blue alliance. So on each side of the field, there are two parking spots. So I'll get into that later. But the main objective is that robots are able to take blocks from these long goals on the side of the field, and then they can push them and move them up into the long goals in the center of the field. There's two long goals actually, and then there's one uh, goal. It's kind of like a ladder ish, if that makes sense. It's a crisscross, and then basically the red or blue color that dominates the long goal will basically get extra points. Regardless, at the end of the match, the blocks are counted, like the ones that are in the tubes, because those are the ones that are technically scored. Teams are able to kind of remove their opponent's blocks using a D-score mechanism or any mechanism of their choice that can remove blocks. For our team personally, we try to use this wing and then push our alliances out. Yeah, so at the end of the match, one or two robots can park into the parking spots, as I sort of mentioned earlier. On each of the sides of the field, there's a red and blue, as I said earlier. And the robots, if they can fully park themselves into that area, they will get another point bonus. But if both alliance robots can park there at the same time, then they will get an extra bonus. So yeah, this is it's a lot of defense, a lot of offense, especially I think compared to last year. Last year was a lot of defense and removing rings from other people, but this year it's a lot of trying to score as much as you can.
So yeah, like every year, basically the game changes and
Mm-hmm.
it gives off a completely different vibe. I feel like,
Yeah.
especially as Kirsten said, like the game was a lot slower last year, and this year it feels like none of your points are guaranteed, and
Mm-hmm.
you can all
Yeah.
lose it at once. So that's kind of like the interesting thing about Vex, is that every year I know the developers try to be creative and just change things up for sure. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being on the podcast.